I told my sister's fiancé she was lying about her infertility for 6 years, just before their wedding. He felt betrayed and called off the engagement. Now, my sister and parents are furious and want to cut me off. AITA for revealing the truth? I will try to keep this as simple as possible. My 26M sister, Emma 29F, was very sick in high school. Her choice was either to die young or be able to conceive children. It was a hard decision for her and she doesn't like to talk about it. She has been dating Adam 29M for about 6 years, and he is really nice. The whole family loves him. He proposed to her last year, and they were planning to marry in March next year. But here is the problem. Adam really wants children. He always plays around with our little cousins at family events and talks about what he wants to do and teach his future children. We always thought that they were just going to be adopting, so we never brought it up. But since the engagement, I have noticed that he always talks about them as their children, as in biological. I don't know how to explain it, but it didn't seem like they were going to adopt a child. After thinking about it for a while, I decided to talk with Emma about it. I asked her out and gently brought up the topic. She did seem a bit angry about me mentioning it, but she explained to me that Adam treats adoption the same as giving birth, and that he is happy all the same. It sounded believed, but I know my sister, she was lying. During the entire conversation, she could not look me in the eye. After a month, I finally decided to talk to Adam. This Sunday, we were gathered at my parents' house for dinner, and while everyone was busy and we were alone, I asked Adam how the adoption proceedings were going. Were they going to start now or after they got married? He looked surprised and asked me what I was talking about. I mentioned how he wants many kids, so they should probably be starting with the whole process early. He asked me if Emma wants to adopt a child because they had never talked about it. Since my parents were coming back, I asked him to talk to me later. Around the end of dinner, I asked him for some help with my phone and lead him to the balcony, and I was honest with him. I asked him if he knew that Emma can't have children. At first, he thought I was joking, but when he saw that I was serious, he got this dead look on his face. I told him some of the details and said that it would probably be best if he talked with Emma for the full story. He was quiet for the rest of the evening, when they got how they apparently got in a major fight. I know that he is currently staying with friends and asked for the ring back, but nothing else. Emma hates me, and our parents are mostly on her side and think that I shouldn't have said anything. I thought I was doing the right thing. This is such a huge secret to keep from your future partner. But maybe it really wasn't my place to say anything. My GF went to Europe for work. She cheated on me with her coworker and then ghosted me after a month. Now that I'm in a healthy relationship, she wants me to take her back. She is accusing me of abandoning her and also abusing my girlfriend. AITA, my now ex-girlfriend, and I met and started dating early 2022. I always felt on my guard with her because she was a 10 by 10, and I couldn't figure out why she decided to date me, let alone be in a relationship with me for a year. We went long distance in 2023 because she got a great opportunity to go to Europe for work on a 1-year contract. It was huge money and an opportunity for her to travel, but I couldn't afford to go. We video chatted regularly, talked throughout the day by text, and things seemed manageable a few months in. I started feeling anxious because she mentioned a guy she worked with who always hit on her, but she assured me nothing would happen, and she really missed me. 1 week, she didn't answer and left me on red for 2 weeks. I finally asked if she was okay and if something happened. She finally answered and said that she had made a mistake and didn't know how to tell me. She wound up going out with that coworker and slept with him. She told me the sex was completely shitty and described a few things and how it made it so weird. Things I wish I didn't know. I told her I was really hurt because she promised nothing would happen and we were still in a relationship. She said she understood she hurt me and it was hard for me, but she chose to be honest. She said she needed some space to sort out everything, and it felt like she wanted me to feel bad for her. A month went by. I reached out once and she left me on red. 1 month became 2, then 3. I gave up. I went to therapy after a few weeks because I was so devastated. I had gone to this therapist after I got out of college at 18, so it's been helpful, but I just wrote off the relationship and decided it was time to move on. I felt angry at first, thought about sleeping with one of my coworkers or friends, but I never did. After 4 months, I asked out the girl who had been my stylist for almost a year. She was super sweet and always subtly flirted with me. We went out, and it was just a breath of fresh air. She was very beautiful and kind, and we talked so easily and had a great time with each other. We went on 5 or so dates before we said we were a thing. I told her about what happened with my ex, and I considered it over and in the past. But I had some trust issues, and she understood. Her ex did cheated on her too a few years prior. It's been almost 6 months since my ex cheated on me. My new girlfriend met my parents, and I met her mom. Things have gone very well, and I can't explain everything has been just easy, less anxious, and fun. We had a family party at my parents' place this last weekend. I decided to post some photos to my Instagram of me and her doing some of the games and just a photo of us together. I woke up the next morning to a flood of angry texts from my ex. For abandoning our relationship and not being man enough to tell her it was over and I had moved on. I blocked her number, and then she continued on Instagram and even emailed. Finally, I responded saying she didn't deserve to be mad, she cheated and turned her back on everything. She and the relationship was dead to me and she needed to live with what she did. She also messaged my new girlfriend, some nasty things about how she looked, how we were together, and she couldn't replace her. My girlfriend was upset with her but didn't take it to heart. She also blocked my ex and we've just been trying to proceed as normal. But my ex's friends have also messaged me as the bad guy. My Karen sister-in-law tried to steal my baby's name. She thought she was being slick while snooping through my house for the name. Little did she know that I tricked her and gave her a wrong name. The look on face was priceless after she saw my reaction. Now, she is not thrilled about the name and motherhood. Karma works in many ways, so I 33F have been married to my husband Kevin, 35M, for almost 5 years. We have a 3-year-old daughter and I'm currently pregnant with twins, M and F. My brother-in-law Terrence, 38M, has been married to his wife Jess, 39F, for 7 years. Jess and I are total opposites. Jess is an extrovert. She's kind of loud, boisterous, and some would even say abrasive. I'm an introvert. I'm not quiet or shy, but I am reserved. I'm also very observant. The first time I met Jess, I told Kevin that we would be like oil and water. We have never been overtly hostile towards each other, but also have never gone out of our way to bond. Unfortunately, Terrence and Jess had fertility issues for several years before finally having their son a couple weeks ago. Prior to this, Jess was very odd towards us when I was pregnant with our daughter. The best way to describe it is hot and cold. One minute she pretended like she didn't care while we were talking about it at family gatherings. The next she was volunteering to throw the baby shower. I gave a firm no to that. We both assumed the behavior was because of their fertility issues and didn't think too much of it. But the strangest thing she did was almost demand to know what we were naming our daughter before we announced it. She asked us constantly after our gender reveal and got visibly annoyed when we just laughed her off and said it was a secret. We couldn't understand why the hell she cared so much as she was not expecting at this time. Regardless, we didn't share the name with anyone. When our daughter was born and her name was finally announced, Jess was kind of obsessed with it. IDK, how to explain it. She just kept going on and on about how beautiful and unique it was. To this day, she comments about how different it is. The name we chose is a common Welsh name which wouldn't be all that different except for the fact that we are African American LOL. I've always gravitated towards names from different regions and found and fell in love with the name years ago and never shared it with anyone prior to Kevin. Fast forward to both of us being pregnant at the same time. Jess's odd behavior continued towards me, but this time it was more blatant. Snarky comments under the guise of jokes about how big I was going to get with 2 babies and that my body would never snap back like it did after our daughter. She even accused us of getting pregnant on purpose after she announced her own pregnancy, even though the whole family knew we were actively trying. And at the time of her announcement, I was already a few weeks along and didn't know. One thing about me, introvert or not, I'm no pushover and will stand up for myself. But I chose to ignore Jess because I knew that would get to her more than confronting her would, since she seems to thrive off drama. Jess was obviously much further along than we are, however, we did have our gender reveal prior to Jess giving birth. And right on cue, the baby name interrogation started again. Because they decided not to find out the gender of their baby in advance, Jess kept hounding us for both of the names we had already picked out. But again, we declined to answer. After days of this, I got annoyed and asked Kevin if he thought the reason for her insistence was so she could use the name first, since she was due first. He kinda chuckled until he realized I was serious and said he didn't think so, but that anything was possible. So I said, let's test it. We were due to host my father-in-law's birthday at our house a couple weeks later, and I decided to leave something in the unfinished nursery with a girl and boy name on it and see if Jess went snooping. Because Kevin thought it was silly, he said he would give me $20 if she did it. So I went onto some site where you can order custom name wall decals and put in the names Aria Rose and Sebastian Ali. These are names that we like, but aren't remotely close to what we chose. This will also be our last pregnancy, so even if Jess did use them, we wouldn't care. I didn't complete the order. I got to the final page and then printed it out and hid it in a dresser drawer in the nursery. The party goes off, but because we were busy hosting, we never noticed if Jess disappeared for any extended period of time. When I went into the nursery the next morning, nothing was out of place, and the order sheet was still in the exact location. So we both just went whelp and forgot about it. I did, however, notice that Jess never asked us about the names again. Then Jess gives birth. We went to the hospital to give our congrats. When we go in and see the baby, I asked what his name was, and man, I cannot properly explain the shit-eating grin that came over Jess's face as she says Sebastian Ali. I mean, she was really proud of herself, and honestly, it's the most vindictive I have ever seen her look in the years I've known her. But instead of reacting how she was expecting, I put on a performance like I had graduated from Juilliard. OMG, that's such a great name. He's so cute. Look at his little face. Oh, I just love him so much. Welcome to the world, Sebastian. Auntie is going to spoil you rotten. I mean, I am laying it on thick without an ounce of bother. The range of emotions on Jess's face went from shock to confusion to rage in a span of maybe 17 seconds. Meanwhile, my husband is holding in the laugh of the century. We later say our goodbyes, and he gives me a 20 in the elevator while almost crying, laughing. All I could say was, like I thought. This was 2 weeks ago, and we haven't seen them since because we wanted to give them time to settle in with the new baby. I have heard from my mother-in-law that Jess doesn't seem as thrilled about motherhood as she thought she would be considering how long it took them to conceive, but said it might just be baby blues. Obviously, I think she's just disappointed that her petty move didn't have the desired effect on us. I did share this with my sister, and while she laughed initially, she did say it was kind of an AH move. So, AITA,